Hello and welcome. Today we are in Singapore and we're about to take a walk around the absolutely stunning Marina Bay. Now it is a huge area. It will take you hours and hours to walk absolutely everywhere. So I just went out and did a bit of an explore. I highly recommend you grabbing a bike, and that way you can cycle everywhere that you need to do. And I have already uploaded the full bike ride going from here all the way to gardens in the bay. Now I have come directly from my hotel, which is the AM Hotel, so it's also available on this channel already. You walk in a straight line to get to where I am now. That's about a 20-minute walk, and then from here to gardens by the bay is another close to 2-hour walk if you wanted to, or you could cycle it in, I think it's about 44 minutes I think I did it in. So it's not horrendous, but this place is beautiful. Now the amazing thing about this is that when you are walking around this area, it is in zones. So you've got A to E, I think it is. All the way up at A is your camping area, where you can actually camp out by the water and the seafront. And then as you come through and down, B, C, D, for example, each bit has a completely different hub of shops, and it also has different activities to do. So where we've just walked in from underneath the bridge, that was actually the dog park just to the right hand side, and then there's a load of shops through the tree line a little bit further down. Now as I walk up, I have no idea where I'm going, so I'm literally doing this for the first ever time. So I'm learning as I go, and I'm just rewatching it back for the first time. But I do very highly recommend grabbing yourself a bike, because it is so much quicker to walk around. But yes, it does look like a postcard, and it is that pretty. But we will just go for a walk all the way up to, I think, the outer edge of this zone, and then we spin back round, come back down again. I actually stop off at the Burger King that they've got there, which is very tasty indeed, and then we basically end up here. But I'll let you listen to the water just for a second or so. But it was extremely hot at the time of me filming this, so you see I'm just adjusting different bits and pieces. But I actually try and keep the camera as cool as I can, and I obviously do try and stick to the shade as well. Now there are a couple of different ways you can walk. I just stuck to the actual main path itself. Now the road bit that I crossed over to the right hand side, that is actually obviously where everybody cycles up and down, or they go for their runs. There are no cars here whatsoever. You are nowhere near a main road, which is the amazing thing about all of this. So it is extremely pretty just to come in and walk around. Now this is a hive of activity as well, because as you start walking through the different zones and the different areas, like I was saying with regards to you being able to camp and do different bits and pieces, there is a lot of barbecue pits. Now the smell, just sensational. Honestly, as you're walking by, you've got big groups of people by their own barbecue pits. It was just a really nice atmosphere and a beautiful place to be. Now I am exploring this on my first full day. I have no idea where I'm going. Google Maps and things like that do not work on a UK phone, nor does your data packs at all, even if you do the data roaming add-on packs. None of it works, so I highly recommend you getting a local SIM card. Now as we're walking around, I will point out a few different bits and pieces, and obviously I'll go quiet for a little bit as well, just to let you guys and girls soak everything in. But to the right hand side just here, you can see there's some bikes. Now that is where you can now hire the bikes from, so you don't have to walk too far. The only thing that you might have to do is download the app and just walk up to the sports bar to use their Wi-Fi, and then you just do it with a QR code, and then you should be good to go. And it just charges you for the time that you're on the bike, and then you just scan the floor for the QR code to finish. But you can see just how massive this map is. Now if you keep going up in a straight line, that will actually take you off towards where Garden by the Bay is. So you have to keep going in a straight line. You cross the bridge and then you just keep going. But I think we are doing C, and then I think we do C to D, and then we just come back again. So we came in on C as well. So C is huge, as is all of the others. Now like I said, each one has its own hub for food and drink. So when we first came in and you saw where the pet bit was, where you can go and walk your dogs, that was very, very busy in the evening because it was just so hot. Like I said, it was about 40 plus degrees at the time of me filming this, so I did my very, very best to keep the camera cool, and at some point I will obviously have to turn the camera off and I just keep walking and exploring, and then we'll just catch back up with myself because I didn't want the camera to get damaged and overheat, especially when I had so much stuff to film for the Lego channel as well. But as you can see, we're going up this really weird and wonderful observation tower, which was highly used in the evening. You can just imagine the views that you get. I did wonder why until I saw it in the evening, and every single boat that you can see in the distance all had their lights on, and that would have made a perfect photo or painting. It was a very, very pretty place to be. Again, just like that beach, stunning. The only thing I didn't do is actually get in the water, but you've got all the different trees, all the different palm trees that you can just sit underneath and just chill out with. Now later on, when I start coming back down again, it gets a little bit later on in the day, if I remember rightly, and there's more and more people just chilling out in the sun, or should I say in the shade, admiring the sun, just because it was so hot. And actually, when I did get back and I actually put the telly on the news, it did say that there was a heat wave warning in place for the 72 hours from this being filmed for the next couple of days. So it was extremely hot for a few days. So hopefully that is actually coming through on the camera, but I am telling you now, I was struggling a little bit. So it was one of those, definitely being from the UK, coming off in from cold temperatures straight into plus 40, it's a little bit of a shock to the system, but as long as you've got good suntan lotion on, you will be absolutely fine. Now, one thing you'll notice straight away, there is not a single bit of litter or rubbish. Now, like I said, this is a huge gathering area. There was thousands of people. I could not make it up with regards to the people that were cycling up and down, especially later on in the evening. I could not believe how many people are around here between 8 and 11 at night, and then you come down the following morning and there's not a single bit of rubbish on the floor. Everybody is so respectful and everybody is super, super clean. It was amazing to see everybody having so much fun, but now you can see I've kind of moved into the shade a little bit. So you've got a couple of different ways, like I said, you can go. The road to the right hand side is massive, so you can have sort of 4 or 5 bikes wide if you wanted to. So if you are cycling around with other family members, it's not too much of a problem. Now, the different types of bikes that are on hire, you have got 2 different companies that you can download the app from, but you will also notice there's some more sporty bikes as well, which you can hire from like an actual bike shack. And then there is like a family hire, that's the ones where all 4 of you can sit on in 2 lots of 2, like a paddle but on the water, and then obviously you can just use those. So if you do look at all the different types of bikes that are going around, people are very, very active, and there are some crazy people running around as well in this heat. But later on in the day, it was absolutely ramsacked of people running around, and it was just the smell of food was amazing as well. So if you have not yet caught me doing the bike ride POV from actually Gardens by the Bay all the way through, it was breathtaking. It was amazing to soak it all in and just see everybody coming around. But this was something I did not expect, because I had only ever seen this marina on Google Maps. I picked the hotels. I thought this would just make a nice first day walk, and then I ended up doing this walk 2 or 3 times actually. It really, really was worth it. Did put a huge amount of kilometers in, because on the same day I did this, got my bearings, went all the way back, double checked on Google Maps, redid this walk plus the extra 11 kilometers that was needed to go to Gardens by the Bay, and then come back again. So I think I did about 30 kilometers on this day alone, and I slept very, very well that night. But you can see that you've got all of the different bits and pieces dotted all over the place. In the background, you've got the much larger buildings. Where those buildings are is obviously where the roads are for certain bits, but other bits is just big car parking areas, because that is actually where you can go in and get your coffees and things like that. And you do have those really nice areas that you can walk down into the water. We do go down one of those on the way back, because we do have a little bit of an explore. I think we also have a look at a boat repair place a little bit further up as well, because I just didn't know at what point when to turn round. So I had no idea what I was doing on the first day. I just wanted to go and explore. I didn't know if I was going to go and see the main sights and sounds. I think I did the right thing by seeing all of this, because I came back later on in the evening, like I said, coming back from Gardens by the Bay, and it was just a completely different atmosphere. There was so many people, lots of lively music, really nice smelling food. And it was just a very, very pleasant place to be. Now, with regards to the AM Hotel, on that strip, there is lots and lots of other places that you can eat, and there are a couple of other hotels in a straight line from there as well. So if you are staying in Singapore, or you're thinking of booking a trip after you've watched this video for whatever reason, I highly recommend you trying to find a hotel that is in a good location to this area, so you can just walk yourself down to the beach, spin round and kick back up again. Now, I do believe we were looking at area C. I think the beach runs out after that. So if you can find a hotel between A, B and C, obviously, and then you can then just come down and then you can just sit down by the beach. Otherwise, what you would have to do is basically do the reverse of what I'm doing and actually head towards where all the barbecue pits are and different things like that. Because you can see now, it's just some benches, some people just relaxing on the grass and just chilling out with a drink. All the barbecue pits are behind us, and there's loads of them, and there's huge amount of space to the right hand side with regards to just the grassy areas and people sunbathing and things like that as well. So it's really hard looking back on a smaller screen to try and describe to you just how much space there was when you were walking around. And the fact that I am looking at this back now with no cyclists, because obviously this was the first day I did it, there would have been hundreds and hundreds of people passing me as I was coming back, because obviously people had finished work and they were just having a really nice time. But going back to the locations of the hotel, the AM Hotel for me was a fantastic location, really quick with regards to the Ubers picking you up. If you needed to get over to Malaysia for whatever reason, that was absolutely not a problem whatsoever either, and then you could just get around if you wanted to. Now, I only got in a taxi or an Uber technically 3 times, from the hotel to the hotel obviously, and then I did Malaysia and back for Legoland Malaysia, and then I needed to get actually another taxi for Universal, and then obviously head back to the airport. So I didn't have to get too many sort of trips, bits and pieces out like that. Now, with regards to the pricing, really not that expensive at all. If you compare it to the States, where you have to get an Uber absolutely everywhere, over in Singapore the pricing was fantastic. Now, you can use taxis, or their taxi has like a prepaid thing like an Uber, so you can't use the Uber app in Singapore. You use the local taxi app, but on that taxi app you can actually prepay, which is really handy, because you just use your card and then they just, whatever driver wants to accepts it just like an Uber. Then you can just get in and they just get you there and they dump you there, so you don't have to worry about sort of paying any extra or any hidden costs like that, and you don't have to see the meter run up either. So I much prefer doing that in case you end up getting stuck in traffic and then you end up getting charged a load just because you're stuck in traffic for their time. Now you can see that we're moving into the next sign. There's probably some useful information on that for zone B that we're into now. So we are walking down. So C, D is where everything is with regards to a lot of the barbecue stuff, and obviously the nice beach and things as well. At this point now, if I remember rightly, I am starting to melt and cry on the inside, because it was just so hot. I would go back though in an absolute heartbeat, because now I know that you can just go into each zone, and behind the tree line, if you actually read the signs, there's plenty of places to sit in the shade, and also plenty of places to grab yourself a drink and all of that kind of thing. Now that's the family thing, just shooting by to the right hand side, so if you wanted to hire some of them you can do. Now you might notice that they have built some nice shady bits to the left hand side as well by the water, where people will just sit down and do, and there was a couple of workers actually looking exhausted as well. So this was a proper zombie day for a lot of people, so I'm glad, even though it was very, very hot, I did come out and actually get all of this filmed, and I'm really happy that I just got up and just explored, because I didn't want to let jet lag or anything kick in. I just got up and went, so that's always the best thing to do. But if I remember rightly, now there is no beach as such. It is just all of the water now to the left hand side. You can still get some fantastic views, but again, with the hotels, there are plenty to book. And with regards to the hotel, from the AM Hotel anyway, you just came out the front door, there's a noodle shop directly in front of you. you could just turn left, and all you had to do was walk in a straight line. There's a couple of different supermarkets, market that you could walk around as well, and eventually you got to the entrance of this marina, and then you were good to go. You just had to go underneath the roads, which is always good fun. You go underneath the tunnel, and then from there you just basically get to where you are and then just explore. But they had loads and loads of boats and shipping bits and pieces. Now, that was me on my knees. No, I have not fallen over or passed out. The battery had cooked. So it was that hot, because normally the batteries die very, very quickly when it's very cold. But that battery only lasted 14 minutes, which is always a bit of a worry, because I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I've now got enough batteries to film everything. So that is another reason why I had to walk all the way back to the hotel to charge everything, to make sure I had enough batteries for later on. As it happens, I didn't actually film anything again to the following day, so I did get an extra couple of kilometers in for no reason whatsoever. But let's be honest, it's stunning, it is beautiful, and it's extremely safe at night as well, because you've got all these lights, so all of this is all lit up, and then it's just really easy to see everything. And there's rubbish bins absolutely everywhere as well, so there's another one there just to the left hand side, and you can see under B all the different bits and pieces that are included. And I think B is where we stop off at on the way back. Yes, it is, but I was about to say there's a Burger King, so there's the Burger King sign, so that was a good burger actually. And so we're in B. I came out in C, which to be honest I couldn't care about too much because it was all coffee shops, so I'm not interested in anything like that. But if I actually turned left instead of turning right, I would have ended up within about 10 minutes, or basically actually the same distance, so we say 14 minutes, we would have hit the McDonald's, because I think each zone is 2 kilometers. So when you enter a zone to entering the next zone, I'm sure they're 2 kilometers per zone. So I think that's how much it is. So I do end up, now I've seen that Burger King sign and I've seen all of that, I do end up spinning back round. We'll have a little loop, I think, around what is available there with regards to a big play area actually for the little ones. There was some slides as well. That is me getting some water in, because I've got you hands free at the moment. So like I said, I am just soaking all of this in myself, and I'm far too lazy to edit that little bit out. So it is what it is. This is real life. It's just quite handy that I can actually keep the camera there. I've just got to make sure that I aren't swearing to myself underneath my breath as we are walking around. But as we get up this path, again, you can see it does split. So you've got a couple of different ways that you can go. Obviously, the safest thing to do, if you know, well, is just go off and explore. But if you wanted to, you just keep walking in a straight line so you won't get stuck or lost. But you can see there's huge buildings in the background. They are quite far away actually. They look a little bit, it looks a little bit deceptive just how close they are, but trust me, you cannot hear the car traffic whatsoever. Now I am just looking through this smaller screen, and I think, yes, I can see some green fencing in the background. So what we end up doing is we end up walking back really close to that fencing, because I think that is where the ship bit is. So we get really close to the water on the way back. Then we'll jump into the Burger King, and then we go back the way we've just come, and then we finish how we started. So it is a full loop of B and C, I do believe. I could be wrong. We might go a little bit further into D. I'm pretty sure we actually just stop, spin round and come back again. So I think I see a sign and then just end up turning back round, because I thought to myself it's going to take for absolute ever the way I was going to go, and I had not yet eaten, and I only had that one small bottle of water. So I am very glad that I actually did just turn round, because it could have been an absolute disaster. So with regards to actually the flights and all the different travel bits and pieces, really easy and simple to do. So with regards to how the airport and things work, I will put a video together if I manage to film anything in the airport. The only problem is with the airport, it was very quick, which is a good thing. But you literally followed a couple of signs, and I think before I even had time to get my phone out, I was already in a taxi, because that's how organised they are there. Now the amazing thing is about the Singapore bit is, if you need to get the address for your hotel to show the taxi driver or anything like that, obviously they've got complete free Wi-Fi as well, so that makes it really easy. But you literally collect your luggage, and there's just a massive taxi sign. You end up, it's a bit of a walk. You end up walking, if I remember right, you end up walking through the airport a little bit. You go down the escalators a couple of times, and all of a sudden, you just join this massive queue. You think you're going to be there forever. And there's continuously 10 taxis coming in at a time. They've got like 10 bays. There's a person that pushes a button to call these taxis. I don't know where they bottleneck up and park up from, but they come flying in. You jump in and they shoot off, and then the next lot comes in. So this queue is just continuously moving at a really, really good pace. And then before you know it, I was from the airport back to the hotel. And then I was thinking to myself, I do not know where I am. I don't know what I'm going to eat, because I did no research whatsoever. I thought to myself, I'll do something a little bit different. I know where the hotel is. I know where the marina is. I want to do this the first full day, but the afternoon/evening that I had no idea what it was about, so I went off and explored that as well. So that's always a nice thing to do. Now, with regards to the walk from basically here on to Gardens by the Bay, so if you were to walk it stupidly enough like me, or you were to cycle it, again, I can't recommend that enough. You save a ridiculous amount of time. I will right now add in the tag for that bike ride, so you know exactly what you're looking for, because it really does save a lot of time. You've only got these sort of shelter bays to the left hand side. Now, if you notice where these things obviously purpose built, there are people underneath each one, but can you hear the birds? I had that pleasurable experience all day. So where we are now it's just much calmer. It's not the hive of activity. So as we get further and further out, it does get calmer and calmer. But like I said, there's now no water, there's no beach anymore to the left-hand side, but you can walk down by the waterfront, which is obviously what we're going to be doing. To the right-hand side, that'll be your first car. So you have just seen the first car. It kind of goes into a bit of a vice pinch a little bit, where the water seems to come in a little bit and the road seems to come in a little bit, but not that you're going to notice it whatsoever. This is now where you start getting, because it feels like you're coming out of not so much civilization, but you know that you're sort of in between zones. This is now where you can actually hire the bikes. So they have the big bike huts and sheds and that kind of thing just here. Now, I was thinking to myself, I have absolutely no idea where I am now, so I thought I'm just going to keep going until I see the next map. Then I'm going to make the decision of where I actually am on the map, because I couldn't quite tell if I was going up the map or back down the map, because I didn't know about Gardens the correct way to Gardens by the Bay until I got back home and Google mapped it, so I could actually figure out exactly what is what. Then, like I said, I came back out and just cracked on. So until I actually see the map, I was thinking, when do I turn around? When do I turn around? You don't need to if you just want to do a big loop. And at any point, what you could obviously do, I think there's one coming up now to the right hand side, you could literally cross over and then just go up, and you'll be in the main streets, the main areas, all by the shops, and just a huge amount of stuff that way. So again, if you wanted to sort of almost use Marina as like a cut through, and you were at one hotel quite far up here, but it had a load of shops, but then you wanted to go and explore, and you basically want to do like a huge horseshoe, you can do, or you could just get a taxi. It's, it is that simple. It's one of those that they are always on call and always on demand if you wanted to pick one of those up. They are not that difficult to find whatsoever either, so it keeps it nice and simple for everybody. So that's always a really nice thing, because when you're in a foreign country, it's more difficult to use the public transport sometime. But here, it was just really, really easy. Just download the correct app. The best thing you can do is, if you are coming from the airport, you're going to need to get a taxi. Whatever taxi you get in, there's only 2 types of taxi there anyway. Just look at the side of the taxi itself, and then download the app, and then from there, you are good to go. Now, this is what I meant by there's now no sand. So you have this amazing view of all of this water, and as you're coming up, you can see you've got all the different colours of the leaves and things like that. We will end up in about a couple of minutes, it can't be too much longer, coming back down this way, and I just keep the water to the right hand side, because I was trying to mathematically work out that if I kept going, how many kilometers I'm going to be doing, getting further and further away from the hotel. And bearing in mind I am still trying to gather my bearings, I thought it might be a bit stupid to go this far on my first day, but this is exactly what I end up doing. Normally I walk and talk to the camera when I do this, but because I didn't know if there's going to be loads of music playing or if this was going to be absolutely enormous or not, you've got me with a voiceover instead. Otherwise I would have just been looking at the camera going, at what point do I turn around? I don't know where I'm going. At what point do I turn around? And that's exactly what happened in Abu Dhabi, because I ended up taking the wrong way in Abu Dhabi, and I think I went for a 40-minute detour walking around, completely lost, because again in Abu Dhabi the signal does not work over there. So Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Singapore do not like English phones. They don't like the network or anything like that, so you do have to get local SIM cards. Now you can see where the traffic is now. You can see how it's suddenly got a lot closer. It has got a lot more narrower because there's now no shops there or those kind of things. But seeing this back at night when you're walking back down again, it was absolutely beautiful. Now if I've got any common sense whatsoever, I will turn right here on the path. If I keep going in a straight line, I'm stupid. I am stupid. I should have turned around there, but no, we'll keep going because I will at some point see the sign. Now there is a couple of tents in the distance on the right hand side, which I think is the bike bit. I've changed my mind. There we go. I thought I would. I thought I actually did have some sort of common sense. So we are now, I didn't want to cut across the grass, so we're now going to walk down the path because I think there's a map in the distance. And then this is where I realised that I have not made a tiny dent into this whatsoever. So we have walked, well, in this video we will walk a couple of kilometers. We are 26 minutes into the 45. So guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. There's lots and lots of different travel content coming to the Global Life Travels channel. Now obviously we've got a lot of stuff from Singapore, a lot of theme park stuff as well, don't forget. So if you are a theme park fan, I'll be doing all the different theme parks, but then that will include the accommodation, how to get about, and all of the other things that you can do just when you're away as a family. Obviously I do all this by myself, but I'm just trying to help though you guys and girls out, because this is actually linked to a Lego trip. Now you can see Area B, and you can see just how big Area B is and how much it covers. I'm in the middle of B, and I thought to myself, yes, this is beautiful. You can see where the bike is there if you keep going up, and you can see all of the different roads. And I started to cry on the inside thinking I've got to go all the way back to the I think it's the Parade underpass is what I've got to do. So on that at the moment you don't have that many zones, so it's only the smaller map. So I was thinking that is a huge area per zone. So as you can see, I thought absolutely not, let's turn back round and then just get back down again. So we've cut a little bit off because I needed the camera to cool down anyway, so that worked out well. So we're now, oh no, it's a lie, we've just started straight off. So the map is actually directly behind us. That is the path I stupidly turned back round on and missed. So I've just waited for the camera to cool down. So we are now going to be walking back in a straight line. Then we'll get to Burger King, and then I think I then just have snippets of film all the way back. So we're doing good so far. We've got just over 15 minutes to go. But now we are walking back. We're walking back a different route, but we will end up in the same location. So now we're going to keep all the water to the right hand side. We will walk down one of those pier bits because obviously that is very, very pretty indeed. So it's always nice to see that again. And then it's just, I can just visualize the boats at night. Now I didn't take any photos or anything at night, I just wanted to soak it in for myself. But if you want to just get some really nice photography, this is definitely the place you could come in the evening. So if you are into your photos and things like that, obviously during the day it's breathtaking, but just seeing all of those boats docked up, and they're all big shipping containers as well, they just had all their lights on, it did look very, very pretty. Now with regards to all the other little bits and pieces that are on this channel, like I was saying, we have got different hotels, we've got different theme parks, we've got some other bits and pieces from the Philippines as well. Obviously you're going to be having quite a bit of stuff from Singapore Singapore, so check your eyes for those videos that would have already been uploaded. Then we have got some little bits and pieces from Dubai, but not too much. And then you have quite a lot to come from Abu Dhabi, of basically this in Abu Dhabi, walking around somewhere called Yas Island, which is exactly where the F1 track is. So it's completely different to this, because this is peaceful, you've got the nice water, you've got all of the trees. Abu Dhabi, huge buildings, lots of traffic, but still very, very impressive. So you've got all of that, which is new to come on the channel. And then of course there's going to be a lot more trips as well. So hopefully there's something for everybody with regards to you just checking out different bits and pieces. And then we've obviously got all of the little shops, all the merchandise shops, all the toys, clothes, and all that kind of thing as well. Now this is the bit that I said that we'll be heading over to, almost like the repair bit. So now all of a sudden you get really, really close to the water. Now if I remember rightly, you can keep walking just in a straight line and you can actually get to the water. So that is, I think, what we are about to do. I think that was blocked off to the right hand side, because you can see the big slopey bit. I think that was all cracked and they were in the process of getting that repaired. So I just walk in a straight line and get to the end. I'm not 100% sure if this is where the little fishing boats sort of get in and get back out again, because of the bit that we will be walking around. It'll just be very, very interesting to see what is what, because this was the only place that had a little bit of rubbish, and I'm assuming it was the people that get on and off the boats, which seemed a little bit weird, because I was the only person walking down here. This is now at the point where I felt very, very lost. But like I said, there were thousands of people the other way. So where they were camping in A, they would have been there all day. So that's the big area to go. So rather, if you wanted to have a big, lively environment, and you are staying at the same hotel that I stayed in, which is the AM Hotel, when you get to that crossing, if you just want to go straight to the sports bar and watch all of the English bits and pieces, and obviously the other foreign stuff with regards to sports and things like that, then obviously that's the sports bar to go to, but that is one of many that you would have already passed. But if you came in and turned left, it was completely different. If I came in and just walked and turned left rather than turning right, we wouldn't have seen any of this, and it would have been a lot more built up, a lot more busy with people, a lot of people sunbathing, listening to loud music, having the barbecues already. It was just completely different. It's amazing how much a zone makes a difference. So you can see how the map is very important, because C did have a good amount on, D didn't really have that much, so B didn't have that much on, but as you go the other way, you can just see exactly how much it is. So I can't learn the alphabet, so I think you guys and girls have to probably pause and just reread the bits and pieces on the map, but I'm sure I came in on C. So if you just turn left, you'd be absolutely living the dream. So either left is B or D, but you can see to the right hand side, I wasn't 100% sure what all of that was to the right hand side. It did look pretty cool, but it was just, because it was all enclosed and fenced off, I wasn't too sure if that is running repairs or if that's where people lived. But you can see some bikes and things like that. I just was not 100% sure, so I didn't want to turn the camera in and have a proper look. But if you know and you have stumbled across this video completely by mistake, then let me know, because it's always nice to learn different bits and pieces. But it was such a beautiful experience just walking around here, and again with all the trees and the different paths and different ways that we can go. But like I said, we are now going to be keeping the water close now to our right hand side. So when we get past this, I think then that's where the sand starts basically. So you got loads and loads of sand that you can then just sunbathe on, and then you can just relax. You can obviously put your big towels and stuff down if you wanted to and just chill out. Really, really calm atmosphere. And you can see now, and you can hear all of the leaves. So it's definitely not an area that a lot of people would walk down, because the main strip, there was people doing the gardening stuff all the time. You didn't even notice, you didn't even see any fallen leaves when we were going around, but it just seems to be this bit just here. I don't know if it's a little bit more industrial or what it's to do with, but I would like to know. So if you can let me know, then that would be brilliant. Right guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. So if you are still with me at this point, then congratulations for you, because I am now thinking what we have to come. So I'm watching this back for the first time, and like I said, I did this not knowing what to expect. So I literally just kept the camera on. I didn't really think I was going to use the footage, to be honest, but watching this back, I'm glad I am, because it might be handy for somebody not getting lost and going the wrong way like I've just done. But straight line, water, and then you've got beach. Turn left and then turn right again, and then you can walk out into the water a little bit more, which is something that we're going to do. And I think from there we then jump to the Burger King place. Either we walk it or we jump there, but I think we just jumped straight there because I was so thirsty and hungry. I went there, and then with the Burger King you do have the Wi-Fi as well, so you can then get your bearings if you need to. And then I just went straight back up, then straight back to the hotel, and it was really simple. But if you want to see the street that my hotel was on, check out the AM hotel video. It's in the accommodations playlist, and you can see all of that, and you can also have a tour of the hotel itself, and then just how easy it is to get about, because that's what it is all about. Finding a good location for me is more important than the actual fanciness of the hotel. I will always go for the cheapest hotel and just hope that it's got a shower, but this I was amazed with regards to the ease of just getting around absolutely anywhere and everywhere that I wanted to go. But again, you can see that we're just walking out into the ocean. I'm going to go quiet just for a minute or so, just so you can hear the waves. So you can see all of the boats that are in the background. There's loads and loads, and they look like big stones, don't they, in the distance? But no, they are all long shipping container boats, and that was just very pretty to see. So we have jumped. I thought we did. I thought I'd just turn the camera off because it was getting so hot. So we are close to the Burger King bit. You can see the slide and everything in the distance. That it was a big slide. It's like a big area that you can walk around with a load of different shops and different bits and pieces like that as well. But then you've got this outdoor classroom. So this outdoor classroom is a little bit weird and wonderful because, well, it's an outdoor classroom with this. So we can have a very quick look at this. At the very end of the video, what I'll try and do is see if I've got any photos to add in. If I've got the photos, I'll be adding them in now as we carry on looking and speaking, just so you can actually see what was located in there, because I do remember taking photos rather than video, just because there was so many people there. So they would have been there the whole time. The Burger King place was very busy. You can see by just the amount of push bikes that are on the ground. Now those bikes that are there to the right hand side, you could have hired any one of those. So they aren't somebody else's bike, because they're obviously all locked up, so you can't just push away with them. You need the app. Now the green one and the blue one are two completely different companies, so you would obviously have to download the app depending on what one it is that you wanted, and then you could just crack on and get going, which obviously keeps it nice and simple and nice and easy. But you can now see that we are walking again away from the water, but not the way that we came in, because this was the bit that I said was absolutely massive, and there was loads and loads of people in this bit later on in the evening as well. But going back to the little sort of hub of where it was, or where I've just eaten and had my lunch, there was quite a lot of different places you could sit down. You had some really nice restaurant-y areas there as well. I came back via that way, coming from Gardens by the Bay, and that was very nice. It was really nicely lit as well. And again, coming past the other one into the other section where the big McDonald's was, and all of those was really well lit. And the one that I came through and passed by the sort of the dog walk park, that was all very well lit, but that one had the big Starbucks and more of a sort of diner type restaurant. So you've got fast food, nice food, mix of absolutely everything there. So again, you can just eat whatever you want to eat. Now the cool thing is, talking about the different menus, is that there are quite a bit of selection of food. So the actual bits and pieces on the menus for, like, for example, the Burger King, they had 3, maybe 4 times the amount of selection that we get over in the UK. They had the local bits and pieces, and then they had a Westerners menu as well. So It was amazing just to see the completely different types of stuff that they had over there, and how we never have anything new to try over in the UK, which is always a little bit of a weird one. You just assume that the menu's the menu, where it clearly is not. Now I think I go up here, turn right, and then we just cut across, and then I think, if I remember rightly, there would have been, or there is, a really big but disused like go-kart track. But I think it's like the pedal go-karts rather than the petrol go-karts. But let me know if this is just a seasonal thing, if it's open to the public use and you can now just cycle around it and do whatever it is that you want to do, because I didn't spot it on the way down, but then I spotted it obviously now on the way back up by just taking that different path. So in between each of the sort of, we'll say, food outlets or pockets of where you can grab something to eat and drink, hidden within these tree lines there is loads of, well, activities and stuff, and this is, well, one of them, because you can see, like he says, I think you can see, if I pan the camera down a little bit, there we go, all of this. So I know I'm clever enough, so this is a really cool thing. I don't know what it is. So obviously it didn't look abandoned, because the trees are in really good nick, the grass gets cut and everything like that, but there was nobody there. The actual little outbuildings and everything, I think they'd been boarded over, the yellow buildings, but I'm assuming that's where they would have kept whatever it is you would have hired to go racing around on. So if you know, and you have been here in years previous, was this a thing before 2020? Was this a thing before 2024? Because this was filmed in 2024, so the upload of this video is only about a month after it got filmed, so it's still up to date with regards to the different bits and pieces. Yes, the cyclists do go tearing about as well, so just beautiful that we don't see any cars. You don't have to worry about crossing the road with regards to the different cars or anything like that, so that always keeps it nice and simple. And again, now you can notice that there's more bikes starting to appear, because we're getting just after lunchtime. It is roasting hot still, but because we're walking back to where the people are, we will start to see a few more people as we start to come up over the last couple of minutes. Now, in the comment section below in the last few minutes, let me know if you have been here before, or let me know what kind of thing you would like to see on the channel. What do you find more helpful? Do you just find a walk and talk like this okay? Do you prefer all the different hotel stuff, because obviously that is stuff that I film, or the theme park stuff to the channel will be stuff that I film? Proper like vlog information stuff will also be coming to the channel with regards to how-to stuff, with regards to how to get around, how to hire bits and pieces. So there's plenty of videos to come, and I am just building the foundations of this channel, because as me doing this voiceover, this channel is still basically brand new. It's only had a handful of videos uploaded, so hopefully we can start to tuck into all of the different bits and pieces. Now on the ground there are different bits that you can take photos of, and obviously you can see all of the water and just how pretty it all looks, and you can see plenty of sand that you can just relax on, and another bin. So again, bins absolutely everywhere if you wanted them. So you've got a choice now to walk across the sand, walk where I'm walking, you can run slash cycle on the actual road, or you can cross over and walk across the grass, because we are now into the wider area, like I said on the way in, and you can see you've got some of the other buildings. You've got another orange outbuilding just there, and you've got some other little bits and pieces just there as well. That is another thing that you can just go and do. I don't think that is the go-kart bit, I think that's something else. You've got some massive feet there, because obviously that's telling you that it is a footpath. And again, if I go quiet just for a second or so, you can hear all the birds and everything in the distance, and a little bit of wind as well. But I think that might have been an old golf course, you know. I think that's what that one might have been with the slope. Now, that was another battery change. That is always a massive worry now. But you can see just to the right-hand side, there's lots more people starting to sit out in the shade. So there are people in little golf carts shooting around. You can see the first barbecue pit. So there it is, to the right-hand side. That's where everybody would sit down. Each one of those you can have a barbecue on. So we've just passed 2 or 3, and there's another one coming now to the right hand side. You've got the information bit to the left hand side. If you kept on walking up in a straight line, it just keeps going and going and going with regards to just now. This bit here cycling back from Gardens by the Bay, it smelt fantastic. Because I actually walked all the way to Gardens by the Bay in the evening of this video, walked all the way back to the hotel, and then I walked back to Gardens by the Bay the following day because I knew where it was, to then cycle back so I could get everything filmed. So I'm really glad I did do this because I basically saw it in all of its glory with loads of people, and I saw it completely empty and managed to film it all at the same time. So I was really happy with that. But again, every single bit where you could get some shade was always taken. There's plenty of people asleep as well because that's how hot it was. Now we are back, as you can obviously see, the big yellow thing is the observation tower. Now to the left hand side is the huge sports bar, and that will have a load of bikes and everything back out the front. So we have just done one zone. That's basically all we've managed to cover. We've gone from half a zone to half a zone is what we've done. So it's just one zone there and back. So we've done a couple of kilometres, started to get a couple of steps in, and that is always handy. And you can see on C, it tells you what is further up and all of the different things that you can do there. And it does direct you in a really easy and handy place. So that is not too bad at all. But as we pan around and have a look at the sea, probably for the last time before I then think we jump up back to the dog park, you can see now, you can see hopefully if I carry on spinning around, you will see the bits and pieces in, no, I've got to keep walking up, miles away yet. So if we keep walking up to the left hand side, there is where it says the dog run, and then the buildings there to the right hand side is their equivalent of the Burger King. So all of that where the cars are going by, that is actually where you can just walk up those stairs, grab yourself a bite to eat and a drink. But guys, that is it, and I am done. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.